Hello, how are you? Welcome to Native Yoga Center. My name is Todd McLaughlin. Strengthen your core without crunches for someone with sensitive back. So the question is, I want to strengthen my core, but I go to an exercise class and all we end up doing is a bunch of sit-ups and crunches, and I come out of class and my back hurts worse. Is there a way that I can strengthen my core through the yoga practice without hurting my back? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. All right, so we just got to get creative. And what's really important is that we pay attention to our bodies and how it feels. I realize that in the world of back pain, there is a myriad of different options of why we would have back pain. So I will do my best to cover some of the basics so that we can get off to a good start. So hopefully you're having a relatively good day, but if you're having a day where you're having really extreme back pain, I will also address where you're at here now. I want you to come down on your hands and knees. Now, when we think of core, a lot of times people think their minds go straight to abs. I got to strengthen my core. And yeah, that is a big part of it. However, we have the core muscles of the psoas, our deep hip flexors. We have core deep back muscles called the QL, the quadratus lumborum. We have the core of the transverse abdominis, the muscle that covers our internal organs. And then we can even work through different areas of the body, in relation to the depth closest to the musculature closest to the spinal column, all the way up to the neck. So core references working from our center as opposed to kind of from our extreme, working from the outside of the body, and having the ability to strengthen in the center to be able to do all these other movements. So with that being said, in cat pose. Cat pose is a really good core strength pose. Now, this is very similar in a way to like a crunch, because a crunch is where, you're kind of crunching the body into a forward position. But sometimes they're done very radical, fast motion. And so what we're going to do here is just push down against your hands and your knees and pull your belly in and try to expand your back and then relax. Okay, and then when you exhale, push down, squeeze your belly in, try to round your back, tighten your abs as strong as you can, and relax. Good. Again, inhale, and then as you exhale, push down, squeeze your belly in, and relax. This is a good way for you to work on the core, kind of squeeze your body, press down, and round. Good. Another way that we can work in a classic kind of yoga-ish position is to come into the boat pose. Now, I'm aware, you probably saw in the thumbnail, on purpose, that picture on the thumbnail, I have my back round a little bit when I attempt to take my legs up. There is an element with back pain, and you're going to have to figure out which way is good for you, where you might feel better keeping your spine really extended. You might feel better working core strength with your spine a little rounded. You might feel better working with your spine straight, but not fully extended, like in the middle. So let's grab behind your knees, squeeze your back, try to keep your body really straight, like your upper body really straight. Try to keep this real tight so you're not kind of flopping around. Keep everything really secure. Grab behind your knees and see if you can just lean back and hold the balance on your hips. My arms are doing a large majority of the work. And while you're holding here, I want to have you try to just round your back a little bit. And then I'm going to have you try to lift your chest. So basically, we're practicing the cat and the cow while we're holding up in the boat pose. And the idea is that really work your abdominal musculature super strong. Like while you're holding it, I want you to tense like crazy. Now, in some cases, there's so much to address. You might need to soften a little bit. But today, since we're going toward the core strength component, let's have you go ahead and squeeze your belly nice and strong, and then see if you can manipulate moving your body into flexion extension while you hold your abdomen really strong, so that you will get fatigued. And this way you're doing like little mini crunches without moving your back rapidly and flying through space uncontrolled, right? Like this type of work where we learned where you're like kind of throwing your arms and you're coming forward and you're coming back and you're doing all this sort of stuff. It might just be a little too fast for the back. All right, another element that we're going to implement are planks. And so in planks, we're going to start off super easy. We're going to begin with on our hands and our knees. So if you start off in cat pose and you have your hands under your shoulders, what you do is you bring your hands a little bit forward, so it actually will feel like you have an angle here with your hand out in front of your shoulders, so that when you rock your body weight forward, you align your shoulders above your hands. The next thing I'd like for you to become aware of is that your shoulder blades have the ability to protract, which is like cat pose, or retract, which is like cow pose. So here I want you to try to protract so you have your shoulder blades wide across your back, and lean your body weight a little forward so your hips come down. Bring in the hips a little bit more in line with your knees and your shoulders. Good. Now just hold here for a moment and try to squeeze the belly in. Draw the belly in while you hold some weight on your arms. And this is a good way to strengthen not only the front, but also some of the back extensor muscles, and to build that junction in your shoulders and your ribs. So we're really just working, holding the strength here. Good. And then release back and do a little traction stretch in the cat, where you round your back and you bring your hips back and open up the posterior spine. Good. All right. Next up, I'm going to have you come down onto your left elbow and turn into a side plank position, where you could maybe rest your right hand on your right hip. And what we're focusing now is the transverse abdominis on the left side, as well as some of the oblique muscle contraction. And we're working, just holding weight on our left arm. And you can stay where you are. I'm going to demonstrate an easier way to do this. If you're having a day where your back is really inflamed, you're having a really tough day, stand up and lean your elbow on the wall and just do a side plank on the wall, and practice tighten up all around your belly, all around the side of the belly, and just hold and lean a little bit of pressure against your elbow to start to stiffen and strengthen the core musculature on the side of the body. And then we're going to switch sides. So naturally, if you're using the wall, you're going to do the wall method, where you just lean on your elbow. However, if you come down onto the mat, or you're on your mat, come down on your right forearm, elbow, and do a side plank, where you're just working on holding core stability and strengthening your muscles. And we're much like in a pose called side plank or Vashisthasana. And we're just making it a little bit more reasonable, not as difficult. For those of you that are, full-time yogis and into doing the more difficult style, you of course can work on strengthening your core in a classic side plank. But I want to be beginner friendly and create technique that will allow for you to not strain too hard. Like, we want to build strength without struggling so much that we lose the form. So you just hold the pressure on the arm, working the side body. Good. And then release. You can just lower your hips down and swivel around. And now go ahead and come onto your hands and knees again. And what we're going to do here is do a little bit of glute strength work, as sometimes back pain is related to weak gluteus maximus. So glute max is this muscle here on the back of the hip. When you extend your leg behind you or above you, that contracts the glutes and the hamstrings. So I'm just going to have you raise your right leg up, hold steady. And now while you're holding your leg in the air, I want you to try to do a little bit cat pose. Push down really strong against your hands while you hold your leg in the air. And instead of letting your spine drop and you just sag and lift your leg way high, I want you on purpose to try to round your back and hold your leg up in the air to build some core strength here through your hips and your low back. Good. And then lower your right leg down. Okay, now take your left leg and extend it back, and try raise your left leg up, and then push down into your hands and round your back. So you work strengthening. You're going to feel, when you start to round your back, you're going to feel your abdominal muscles really start working and drawing in. And this way, we're working core strength without doing a bunch of crunch movements. You're able to stabilize and strengthen and take care of the back. That's really important. Good. Okay, go ahead and release. Let's try now another one where we're going to do a bridge pose to, again, strengthen the glutes, to also do a very gentle back bending pose, but to work on core strength through the back extensor muscles and the glutes again. So you lay on your back and you have your knees bending and you press your feet down. Now, some of you are going to be hyper bendy and be able to kind of push your hips way, way high and do more of a back bend. What I want you to try to do, though, is take your ribs and bring the lower ribs down a little bit. And so that instead of kind of bending backward in your back, I want you to try to do a little bit more of the cat pose in your lower back, so that you take your pubic bone, which is the bone at the front below your navel, and you're drawing that up towards your sternum, and your sternum is drawing down towards your pubic bone. And that way you're tightening this area, not really trying to do a super deep back bend, but to hold the strength super strong in your legs and in your belly and in your glutes and also here in your low back. And just stabilize, keep holding. You'll start to feel fatigue. Your legs start to get tired. Try to work and hold it just a little bit longer. Strong press and slowly release and lower down. Good. Roll over to one side or the other. Come all the way back up. And now let's try one more. Go ahead and come back onto your elbows like so. All right. So if you take your hands and you use your hands like thumbs apart away from your index finger, and you just put your thumbs on your back and your forefingers on your waistline or on the side of your hips. So when you come back on your elbows, you just kind of support. And what I'd like for you to try first to become aware of, to become aware of is that you can lean on your elbows and push your chest forward in a back bend, or you can round your back and tuck your tailbone under in a little bit more of a cat pose. So you could either be in cow pose while you're on your elbows, or you can be in cat pose, or you can be neutral. Let's start with neutral. And just take one leg and raise one leg and lower it up. Now we have a pose called Uttanappadasana. Uttanappadasana is an intense foot stretching pose. And here I'm breaking it down into little pieces. And you just hold your right leg in the air, and you can start to feel the abdominal muscles on the hip flexor on the right side start to feel a little fatigued. Good. And you lower that right leg down. Okay, again, you become aware. Am I doing a back bend? Am I doing a forward bend? Let me try to get neutral. Left leg, straighten it out so the left knee is level with the right knee. You can point your foot or you can dorsiflex, but try to get your knee straight and hold. Just hold the leg in the air. Now, of course, we can get more fancy and do leg lifts and all that stuff, but in the beginning, it's really good just to stabilize and hold. And just practice squeezing the abdominal musculature. You can even I can feel my neck holding my head up. I'm starting to get a little fatigued. So if you have to move your head around a little bit and hold, good, and lower down. Go ahead and relax on your back. Another way you can do, take your hands, slide them under your glutes. Take your hands, slide them under your hips. So you're laying on your arms. Your palms are flat. Lift your head and try to point your toes and lift your legs a little bit. Now you're bearing a lot of the weight on your arms. I'm resting a lot of weight on my arms, and I'm creating the hollow body shape. And you just practice holding here. Now, again, you might try some of this, and you might have if you're having a really tough day with your back, this one's going to be super hard. So this is for when your back is feeling a little better, but you don't want to aggravate it. You just squeeze the front body and hold and release. And you just take a little break and relax. If you do this once every day, these little circle of exercises, you start to feel an increase of core strength. And this can be really good for maintaining back pain, but also make you feel like you're getting a good workout without doing the traditional crunch motion that can flare up your back. I hope this helps. I'm putting this in my playlist of on YouTube, Yoga for Spondylolisthesis, but this is referencing anybody with back pain and or those of you that need to work with sensitive backs. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, send them my way. I will happily answer, and have a wonderful day. Namaste.